Welcome to this information video designed to support new trustees in their role. This session is being presented as top tips covering essential information you need to know in your role as a trustee. We hope you find the information useful, and my contact details are available at the end if you have any follow-up questions or want to know more about a particular subject. Tip 1. Understand the role, responsibilities and potential liability of trustees. Looking at this in a bit more detail, our first tip is to take time to read the Charity Commission's document CC3, the Essential Trustee. The document can be downloaded from the Charity Commission website and is a useful tool for any new trustee. Sometimes people come to us where there is confusion and they're not quite sure if they're a trustee of a charity or just a member of a management committee. So just to clarify, you are a trustee of a village hall charity if you are elected, appointed or co-opted to sit on the management committee. You are legally responsible for how this organisation is managed and run. So it's important that you understand the role of a trustee and what you can do, but more importantly, what you cannot do. Acre information sheets are available to all members of Cambridgeshire Acre to help and support you in your role. We provide an online library that you can access via our members network, and the material covers every aspect of running a community building. And please don't forget, we're here to help and support you in your role. So just email or phone to get information and support. As a trustee, it's important to understand the governance and structure of your charity. And for example, is your charity unincorporated, or is it a charitable incorporated organisation? What happens if your charity runs into trouble? Who is responsible? And is there any personal liability attached to this? You need to understand and manage the risk to protect yourself and to protect your charity. Bullet 3 on this slide sets out an example. Any risk can be managed, ensuring that you have the correct insurance cover in place for your charity, and ensuring that all trustees fully understand the charity's financial position. It's not just the job of the treasurer to understand the finances. Be sure that reports are clear that are provided for trustees, and that trustees can understand the way that the information is being presented to them. It's really important. We can provide lots of advice and guidance to any committee who are unsure about governance and their role of being a trustee. This slide isn't here to scare anyone. It's here to demonstrate the importance of understanding the role and ensuring that everyone involved is supported and protected. It's always a good idea to have a welcome pack in place for new trustees joining your committee so that they fully understand how the organisation operates and they are aware of the governance structure before they even start to take part in any management committee meetings. Tip 2. Understand your charity's governing document. As expressed in the first slide, all trustees need to understand the governing document for their charity. All trustees should be given a copy of the document when they join the committee. Please bear in mind that management committees don't need to share their documents as printed copies. You may want to set up an online document storage system, for example, something like Dropbox. That way everyone has access to all of the key documents and policies, but you don't need to worry about excessive printing costs. It's very important to make sure that you are working to the correct version of your governing document. So check to see if there have been any amendments to the document over the years. And an easy way to do this is to visit the Charity Commission website and check the document that they have listed matches the one that you are working to. I would not advise that you work to a retyped summary document or a simplified version of the document, as this can lead to misinterpretation and errors in the running of your charity. Always work to the original document where possible. If your committee is concerned about any of the clauses or understanding any of the document, please do get in touch, because we will be able to help and advise you understand that document, and where necessary we can help you amend that document if it needs updating in any way. The last point on this slide is really important. Do have a copy of your governing document available at your committee meetings, as you may need to refer to that document through discussion, making sure that you're working within the clauses that are set out within the document. Tip 3, take an active interest in finances and budgeting. Point 1 here is just a reminder, as we have already said, that finances of your charity are the responsibility of everyone, and not just the treasurer on the committee. All financial matters should be reported and minuted at your meetings. And a good example of this is the annual insurance policy. This should be discussed by the whole committee to ensure that adequate insurance cover is in place. It should be agreed at the meeting before any payment is made to the company. Hire charges should always be kept under review to ensure that you're covering your overheads. With the recent rise in energy costs, this is more vital than ever. It is better to do an annual review, and if you need to raise your fees by a small percentage, this way it will give your regular hirers the opportunity to plan for the year ahead. They know to expect the annual review in hire charges and an expected small percentage rise. So you are helping them out in their planning as much as you're helping yourselves. Equally, it's important for your organisation to have a budget and a cash flow in place, and that both of these documents are reviewed regularly. You'll find lots of information available on the Charity Commission website to ensure as trustees you're acting within the law, and this includes advice on finance and reporting. They also provide short videos for trustees, and these cover all key topics. So I would really recommend spending some time and having a look at these short videos to help and support you. Financial policies are absolutely essential for your organisation, and this includes a policy on your reserves. We can provide template documents if you don't have anything currently in place. Charities should retain financial reserves, and this is to help them manage continuity and to minimise risk, especially if you have employees. Trustees need to agree the level of reserves that they need to manage and identify the risks. This is usually expressed in terms of a number of months of running costs. A simple way of looking at it might be that you have you retain reserves for 3 or 6 months of running costs. It's also common to have what's called earmarked reserves, and you might be keeping these for large maintenance projects. You need to repair your roof, or you want to build an extension, for example. And these would be additional to your general reserves. The last point on this slide is very important, about borrowing money. And this should be something that trustees should never enter into lightly. It should always be carefully considered, especially if you're taking on any long-term debt. And we would always recommend that you take professional advice before you enter into any arrangements. Tip 4, get advice when raising funds for your hall. Developing links locally is essential. Local businesses are often keen to help and support local charities. Also, keep in touch with your local council, as there may be small pots of funds that you could access to support the work that you're doing. For example, it might be setting up new groups or building improvements to the village hall. As a committee, it's a good idea to develop a business plan, setting out what you require funds for, and what you're going to do in terms of fundraising efforts to accomplish the goals that you've set for yourself. Clearly express in your funding applications what difference this money will make to your community. Don't talk just about the building, but explain how people will directly benefit from the improvements that you're going to put into the village hall. It sounds obvious, but get someone to check and proofread your application forms. A second pair of eyes could make all the difference before you submit the application to the funder. Tip 5, succession planning. One comment often raised by committees is the difficulty in attracting new trustees. And succession planning is essential for all trustees to ensure continuity for your charity. This slide offers some key tips you may like to think about for your committee. We are also able to help and support your committee. So if you have any questions or would like bespoke support, please do get in touch. Let's just pick up on a couple of the points on the slide. A well-run committee, for example, here is absolutely essential. No one wants to spend hours in a meeting, so do try and limit any meeting time to a maximum of 2 hours, and ensure you stick to the agenda, but also allow everyone to be involved and allow everyone to have their say. Make sure all of your trustees feel valued and involved in the work of the charity. Find out people's strengths, find out what they like to do, and find out how they can use their skills to support the charity's work. Having areas of responsibility helps to share the load, but it also gives trustees a purpose to feel that they have a role within the charity's work. Encourage trustees to shadow each other, especially when you're thinking about key roles such as chairman, secretary and treasurer. If someone is taken ill or is unavailable for some reason, it means that you have other trustees that can quickly step up to ensure that you've got continuity for your charity. Your committee may be interested in taking part in the Hallmark accreditation scheme that we run. This is a process that would give your committee confidence in knowing that they are doing everything in line with best practice. This also demonstrates to new trustees joining the charity that your organisation is well run, that it's effective and has the correct processes and procedures in place. If you'd like more information about the Hallmark accreditation scheme and how you can take part, please just drop me a line and I would be very happy to discuss this with you. Tip 6, market your building to get more use from it. Advertising what goes on in your village hall is absolutely essential. Promotion of the activities that take place will hopefully continually bring new people through your doors. Also, having an online presence is almost essential part of communication with your community these days. Using social media that links to your website is a good way of reaching new audiences and keeping people up to date in terms of what's going on and what's happening on a particular day. Along with promoting your calendar of events and groups, it's also a good way to encourage volunteers and new trustees to come forward. Use local events as a way of introducing people to a volunteering role that you might have available at the village hall. You may just find someone who would be perfect, for example, to run a Facebook account for the charity, or available to set up a new group, a new interest. They don't have to be a trustee in order to help and support your charity's activities. So, keep an open mind in terms of encouraging people to come along and do some of the jobs that maybe the current committee doesn't have the capacity to do. The first point on this slide is really important. Do regular surveys of your users and the wider community. Not only will you learn about what is working at your village hall, but more importantly, you'll probably find out what isn't working so well and what improvements you can bring to the organisation. This information can also be used as part of your evidence when you're collating information for your business plan and funding applications. Tip 7. Know who to contact for more information. All trustees on the committee should be aware of who to contact should they need help, support, or advice. We would recommend having a welcome pack in place for all new trustees. This pack can hold all the essential information required. This information should be reviewed on a regular basis to ensure it's always up to date. And I would suggest a good time for this is just prior to the AGM, to make sure that the document is ready to go to hand to new trustees as part of the AGM process. We can provide a template for you to use, but the key information really you should be including is a copy of the charity's governing document, a set of last year's accounts, details of insurance company and other key organisations you work with. For example, your accountant and auditor. The Charity Commission provides lots of advice and guidance to trustees, and you can now access, as I've previously said, 5-minute videos on all key subjects. And really, I can't recommend enough that you need to have a look at these videos, just so that your entire committee is well briefed in terms of the requirements that you need to meet for the Charity Commission. I mentioned earlier the Hallmark accreditation scheme, and this is an excellent way for a committee to review their processes and procedures with the help and support of Cambridgeshire Acre and our team of excellent and experienced visitors who support the programme. There's more information about Hallmark on our website, and if you are interested, I can always give you further information, so please do get in touch. Tip 8. Keep up to date with legislation. This is so important when running a public building, and I encourage you to read our direct emails and e-newsletter as we circulate information that is relevant and important to community buildings on a regular basis. On this slide, I have mentioned 2 areas that require particular attention: health and safety and safeguarding. There's lots of information and support available to trustees, and it's a good idea to have a named individual on your committee who will take a lead on each of these subjects. Tip 9. Health and safety is important. When writing any policy, it's important the document reflects the current position and that it is reviewed on a regular basis to keep it up to date. This is especially important when we're talking about health and safety and fire. Health and safety should be a standing agenda item on your committee meetings, with the health and safety lead trustee reporting back to the committee. In October 2023, new legislation came into force regarding fire risk assessments. The changes include requirements for all public buildings to record their fire risk assessments in full. You are also required to have a named responsible person in your policy document. Cambridge Fire and Rescue Service provide template documents on their website for organisations to download and use to help and support you to meet these requirements. And finally, top tip number 10. If in doubt, ask someone. Ask lots of questions. This may be of fellow trustees on your committee or seeking advice from a professional. The key point on this slide is that you must always act in the best interest of your charity. And if that means taking appropriate professional advice from a solicitor, an accountant, or other specialist, then you should seek that professional opinion. Do enjoy your role as a trustee of a village hall. Yes, it can be challenging sometimes, but it can also be very rewarding. And we are here to help and support you in your role. The next two slides are a reminder of the Code of Conduct for Trustees, and I would just like to draw on a couple of points on this slide. Remember the importance of acting within the governing document for your charity and ensure the whole committee are familiar with the document. Respect the confidentiality of your meetings. Charity meetings are not open to the public, so don't share detail with other organisations outside of the committee. Ensure all members of the committee are well briefed on every aspect of the charity's work, and all decisions should be taken collectively by the committee. Sometimes trustee relationships can break down, especially when a discussion splits a committee. But it's really important to remember to be respectful to fellow trustees, even if you do not agree with an agenda item. You will, however, be required to act jointly and accept a majority decision of the committee. Hopefully your committee will not experience any difficulties along these lines, but you may want to consider adopting this code of conduct, so all trustees joining your committee will be fully aware of their responsibility. I often get asked by trustees for a list of policies they should have in place for their village hall. And as you can see on this slide, this is a suggested list. If you would like to know more about any of these policies or to obtain a template document, please get in touch. We hope you found the information in this session useful, and if I can be of further help and support, you can contact me via the information shown on this slide. Thank you for watching.